Hi guys, Justin here from Comic Sense QC. Let's talk about the hottest thing in comics right now.
I have no intro music. This is what you get. Yo, what's going on? Listen, okay, I'm really busy. We're back! As you can see, the mess is still going on, and we are in a holding pattern to see what happens with the home. But no worries, insurance adjuster was here and everything is fine. Eventually, this will all be cleaned up, and we will have new floors in the basement, and it'll be a very nice thing. Hi, guys. What's going on? This is an impromptu, unscripted, unwritten video just so I could play with my intro that you just saw, outro, maybe at the end of this video. I don't know. We'll see what happens when I'm done. I want to talk about something fun. Let's talk about Fantastic Four. Now, the somewhat opening night was yesterday, Thursday night. It is Friday, 10 o'clock on a Friday. Cool. And my son's like, let's go. I was like, okay, you want to go? I said, I'll buy the ticket. He says, I'll buy the tickets. Like, all right. So we went to the 11 o'clock showing. Now, look, I'm not quite 50. And I was like, yeah, I can stay up. And I'm fine. I got 4 hours of sleep, got up for work. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Great movie. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. There was a lot of shitty rumors going around about what this movie was going to be. It was going to be a Susan Storm, girl power movie. It wasn't. Johnny was going to be some kind of crook in the back room in a chair, not being a cool dude, not doing what he does. He wasn't. He was awesome. In fact, I would say that Johnny Storm's character in this movie might have been the best character. Ben Grimm looked as awesome the entire movie as he did in the trailer. So this movie, The Fantastic Four, is structure-wise a very well put together movie. It is A to the B to the C credits. And it's fast paced. I was at one point, I was, kind of gripping the armrest and kind of gritting my teeth because things were really intense. There's a lot of space stuff that you don't see in the trailers, obviously, that really make this movie a lot of fun. They just kind of do whatever they want to do. They don't explain anything they're doing. It makes it, like a fun movie. And it was refreshing. I mean, let's be honest. Marvel has put out dog shit after dog shit piece of entertainment, whether it's a show or a movie. You can tell that they were scraping the bottom of the barrel, and just like they put out Ironheart in 2 weeks, 3 episodes each week, and they snuck it in with no press, little to no press about it at all. Maybe a couple hits, but then boom, it was out. There was no advanced advertisement. It sat on the shelf for 2 years, if you didn't know that. And it was absolute dog shit. If there's anything in this world that you can skip in the world of Marvel Entertainment, you could skip Ironheart. It is dog shit. And Superman came out, which they were hoping would, let's hope everybody just forgets about Ironheart and go watch a Superman, even though it's not even our property. Please go entertain yourselves and forget that we made this piece of crap. I saw Superman, thought it was good. Fantastic Four blows Superman out of the water, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to talk about a solid movie that does tribute and honor to the characters, Fantastic Four blows. Superman's a bitch. In the Superman movie, he is made out as a bitch. He's a whiny bitch. And he doesn't win any of his fights. And he wins the last one because Crypto helps him. And he's able to kick the guy into the black hole. Or whatever, and then when he has his big lecture with Lex Luthor, it's get interrupted again by the dog, and then Supergirl flies in, and she's a drunken college kid. It's really stupid. Fantastic Four was, for lack of a better word, fantastic. I thought it was a solid 8 out of 10. I don't give anything high scores, but it was a solid 8 out of 10. I would say as far as the quality of the effects, because that has been lackluster the last couple of years. It has been phone it in when it comes to effects houses. This one was excellent. The effects were excellent. The design was excellent. The 60s to mid 70s aesthetic design was awesome. Everything was kind of an analog feel. Even though they had technology, it was very like low key type technology. It wasn't, holograms and flat screens everywhere. It was like analog TVs and pushing buttons like you would do back in those days. If you were to make this movie back then, that's what you would have had. And it looked phenomenal. I liked it a lot. Kids felt the same way. Even the people out there who are really good at being critical and criticizing these movies, and you know who you are, you guys are awesome, we love you all. They even had praise for this movie. Maybe some of them did. I think the Fantastic Four movie is a movie about family. In fact, if you're old enough like me, it's about the nuclear family. It's about the husband, the wife, and their child, and their family members who happen to live in the same building with them, the uncles of the child, their brothers. And it's really a positive movie. I'm not a fan of Pedro Pascal as a human being. I think he is a misguided simp. I think he does what he's told to do, and I'm sure he doesn't say what he is told not to say. So, and in a way, I'm kind of happy about that because you know what, I don't need to know any more about him than I have to. But he does a good Reed Richards. Not the Reed Richards that some of you might have read in the comic books. He does a different version of him, but in this movie it works. He's almost kind of sidelined because he's not that impactful as an actor, but he doesn't oversell the role. I've complained for years about guys like Will Smith is Will Smith. In every movie he does, he's Will Smith. You don't see the character that the writer created or the director was trying to create. You see Will Smith. Jack Black has become the same thing. I can't think of any. Maybe Ryan Gosling is kind of Ryan Gosling in every movie he's in, but Pedro Pascal does a pretty good job of just portraying Reed Richards, and I thought it was pretty good. Sue Storm, I can't remember her name at the top of my head. I don't have it here because, like I said, impromptu, no script video. She does a great job. Johnny Storm, great job. Ben Grimm, a lot of guys complain that his voice wasn't gravelly enough. And I'm like, you know what? It was fine. I thought it was great, and I thought he did a great job. And, it's like I said, the movie goes from point A to point B to point C, credits, and it really does. It is a movie that moves quick. It is a movie that is fun and exciting. I mean, I'm hard pressed to try to criticize this movie because I'm trying to think of anything in the movie that made me go, or meh, and it was nothing. I mean, I'm not overcomplicated as a human being. I can be entertained by, simple dribble. I grew up in the 80s. There's a lot of directors out there that kept changing their projects because they weren't happy with them, but we enjoyed them. And I enjoyed this movie. If you guys wanted to go see something, have a good time, be optimistic. Fantastic Four will deliver. It is worth the tickets. I of course, suggest seeing it in an IMAX. Or any movie with a really good sound system. Sometimes IMAX is a little too loud for people, but you find a good Dolby theater or DX or whatever it is. It's an excellent way to go. So that's cool. So Fantastic Four was awesome. I have things I'm going to make videos about here in the next few days. I got the Marvel preview for my customers out there who are wondering. You've got DC previews and you've got Marvel previews in your boxes right now. There is no printed image catalog this month. I double checked on my distributor and that was canceled. It is going to be available, I'm assuming, on Lunar's website as part of their they'll have the catalog digital, but Image did not print one as far as I know. I haven't got any details as to why. It's just not there. Other changes being made. I do have a Dynamite printed catalog. If anybody wants one, I've got like 10 copies they sent me because I had no idea they were making it. I stuck them in boxes based on what you buy. If you buy a lot of Dynamite comics, you've got one already in your box. But if you want to look at one, just let me know, guys. I'm sure once again, it's available digital on Lunar's website. So, there's some news in the catalog world. We are going to be making videos as soon as I get the digital file because I'd like to show this. It's not available on Penguin right now, but Marvel does have their physical catalog in your box, and there's a lot of stuff in that I want to talk about because Marvel is getting ready to do it again, and you know what I'm talking about. They're going to change their entire universe. They're going to prioritize this huge crossover event. They're going to introduce 30 new books that are going to be like, read this so you know what's going on, or crapshoot if you want to pick up the first appearance of whatever person they're going to introduce. It's Marvel. It's what they do. They want every penny you have. God for it is so stereotypical Marvel because when they can't come up with an original idea or something interesting to write, and I'm not picking on all the writers, but most, They just changed the game up and changed the situation, create a different universe. I mean, for God's sakes, they had the new X-Men after Krakoa fell. They had the new X-Men out for what? How long was it? How long we had X-Men books? I think I've got some that get close to number 20. I could dig, but I'm not gonna. And now they're already getting ready to stop everything and do a big 16 title release and this whole apocalypse and this other bullshit event that's going on. I wish I had the book with me. I should have brought it home. That'd been smart, wouldn't it? But Marvel's getting ready to do what they do. DC is back to doing what they do. I think there's 12 different Batman titles you can buy now. Now, a while back, they had Jim Lee cut everything down by 40%. Their printed stuff, they cut it. They said, cut it out. Take the most important stuff, cut everything out. And they did that, and everything's worked good. And then now they're back to printing a catalog that's that thick because they've got 30 other books they want to sell you, which I'm, again, not happy with. I mean, when you're charging $4 or $5 a book, guys, keep it real, for God's sakes. I mean, I'm making more money if people aren't keeping more money. Other than that, boy, there's just so many things to go over that I'm going to have to list for. So, but we're back.